everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 801, Softball, Sinners, and Sea Salt. Hello, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined with Eddie. I'm back in Minnesota. You are still in Paris?
I am. No travel discussions. Well, we can obviously speak about the trip that you were on, but no travel discussions. I had planned on asking you on podcast how life was adjusting in the Midwest, but we spoke about it slightly before we started recording, so I don't want to make you repeat yourself and pretend that we were having this conversation organically.
The Midwest? What?
It rains a lot.
It does rain a lot. So far, that's the only downside. I need to make sure I put an umbrella in my office because the things that there's like two things coming together that are really killing me is it rains just randomly. Like it'll be kind of nice out, maybe a little overcast. It won't be raining. And then anytime you want to go to lunch, it's raining, which is fine. Just bring an umbrella or get in your car and drive to lunch somewhere, like explore, which I kind of would like to do, to explore a little more of the city. There's 1,000 different restaurants. The only issue is I don't also have contract parking right now. I'm on a wait list to get to the lot that's next to my office. Because I'm on a wait list, it's $6 daily parking is the fee. But if you leave the lot and come back, you restart your clock. So if I park and then leave for lunch, it's $5. And then I come back and then I park again and I leave at the end of the day. It's another $5. So I'm paying double the parking fees if I want to go to lunch because I'm too lazy to walk in the rain. So it's just been killer. Little things like this are just eating away at me right now.
Sounds like it's going extremely well. Can't wait to visit. I look forward to it. All of those famous Minnesota sites.
Yep. All 4 major sports. We can go see all 4 at once, even if they're not playing.
Yeah. I might have to very specifically. Well, I guess it's not possible with baseball, right? There's no overlap.
Yeah. Oh no, not really. Maybe baseball and football you could overlap if they're in playoffs, maybe October.
You would need the baseball team. You'd need the Twins to probably make the World Series so that we could catch an NBA game at the same time. But
I don't know if the NBA games.
NBA is the struggle, right? The NFL is pretty easy to do the NFL and MLB overlap.
I'm telling you, every time though I drive by that NFL stadium, I'm excited to go. That is a cool looking stadium. That's going to be fun.
That I am looking forward to, and they've got that really awesome horn. And I can't wait. Can't wait to experience that in person. And the Viking clap, I love that. That was a great trend from Euro 2016. Speaking of baseball, though, my softball team, our spring/summer tournament is getting underway in a couple of weeks. There's been much debate over when it would start, but we've finally managed to settle with the organizers on a time that works. It's a level of admin that I do not want for my casual fast pitch softball team, but unfortunately they're responsible.
Can I ask, is a lot of this just a lack of technology due to the age of the individuals organizing this committee? Is this something that could easily be done through a poll or emails or some variation of a combo of some sort of technological advancement to get multiple people to tell when they're free at a certain time?
It could definitely, some kind of poll for people to enter their availabilities would speed the process up. And that's just, the organizers are in their 80s, so that's not going to help. For context for listeners, we play, and Frank played in, but we're part of a sort of American team in a Japanese softball league in Paris. For a while, it was.
You say it though. Wait. You say that though, as if there's a Japanese league, a Cuban league, American league. There's only really one truly organized league of
Well, there used to
softball,
be others, but
but not
those
anymore.
those fell by the wayside, and this used to be an exclusive, like a Japanese only league. And at their height, their peak, I think they had 32 teams
That's insane.
exclusively composed of Japanese players. And they ran it that way for something like 20 years. And then in the 1980s admitted
The way you led up to that story, it was just going to be like, and 5 years ago, they
no.
decided, it's like,
Well, but still this
40 years ago, they decided to start adding other teams.
But for example, so this is the 97th tournament that they've
Yeah, that's
organized,
crazy.
which we're closing in on 100. And one of the main organizers died during the pandemic. There's one more holding on, and I hope for his sake he can make it to the 100, because that's the centenary tournament. That's just sort of nice, got a nice little ring to
It's
it.
like post World War I.
But
to show
you their technology, there's an in-person meeting, which this year I could not attend, which lasts for like 3 hours on a Saturday. And then there's some back and forth with
what
email.
the fuck is there to talk about for 3 hours for a softball meeting? It's insane.
There's dates, and then there's debates over rule changes. Everyone, it's like being in the NFL
It's like an owners meeting.
someone throws a rule change forward. No one ever listens to my proposed rule changes. I've been asking.
Add the tush push?
Yeah.
Just randomly go out there and start pushing people's asses
when they bunt. So there's the Dominican teams that take part, and it's a home run derby for them. And we're technically a fast pitch softball team, but most teams don't really have a good fast pitch pitcher. So you're kind of slow pitch, but on a flatter trajectory is what most teams are doing. And so the Dominicans are just hitting bombs. And you can have an inning against them where they hit 6-7 home runs in an inning. And I said,
there are no fences though, right?
No, there's a fence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I said, like, why don't we put the rule you see in place with slow pitch softball leagues where you have a maximum number of home runs per inning? And then that way it levels the playing field slightly, and it requires that they either tactically decide, like bases loaded, hit the home run now, or can they contain their ego enough? Because I think I'm going to say dumb enough, but I think they are kind of dumb enough that the first two guys would smash home runs, and then they wouldn't want to look like, well, no, I'm not going to hit a triple now. So the other guy would hit a home run just to prove it. And you'd be like, guys, they only scored 2 runs that inning. 5 home runs, but 3 of them were outs. So anyway, so this was mostly done by email. This time they didn't even bother. Usually they communicate in French. This time I just received an email in Japanese, which fortunately
That's great.
Fortunately, technology has allowed me to translate and respond to. Not in Japanese. I responded in French. But we had some back and forth. Most of the players on our team play in other baseball leagues, and there's always this issue with getting the baseball players to show up because there's a clash of dates. We eventually got a date settled. We have we've made the technological advance kind of shift within our team, the Paris Mets.
The Paris Mets.
We're now WhatsApp based over email based, because I thought that would be a better way to have sort of dynamic communication. I might move us to Slack next year, but
and then set up channels like the home run channel, the home run hitting club channel.
And I've been trying to make the team more fun, I think, as a focus. We've had a shift. The mantle was passed to me
Spoken by a true loser.
And I've been trying to be like, look, guys, we are not in our athletic primes. For most of us, this is not the pinnacle of our athletic achievements. So let's not take this too seriously. We're probably going to lose. That's okay. Let's go out, have a fun time, get some beers afterwards. And that way people should want to come out because it's a good time, not because they think they're about to win an Olympic gold medal.
Thank God I'm not there anymore, because I wouldn't fucking listen to that for a second. I'd be off the team. I'd be with the Dominicans. I get hitting home runs for outs.
I'm not sure a lot of the guys on our team are listening, particularly a couple key members. I won't name anyone, but there's this big debate over the dates. And basically all the baseball players said, we can't play these first 2 weeks we've discussed. And I managed to get the tournament shifted 2 weeks later so that all the baseball players were going to be able to play. And I said, good news, guys. We've, good news, boys. The tournament starts on the 22nd now. And then Keith said, whoops, threw his name out there.
Not naming anybody. Let's call him Keith.
Said, crap, the 22nd, I'll be at Hellfest, which is a popular like rock music festival. So I said, Keith can fuck off, because he was one of the guys who would he was one of the guys who had requested for the tournament to be moved, and I'd gone through this effort. And I said but the rest of you baseball players better show up. I meant it as like it was supposed to be a joking, like, oh man, you asked for it, now you can't even. And he wrote back, "Fuck off yourself."
That's amazing.
Which one guy threw in, like there was some gifts that were
emoji that. Did anyone give like a laughing face emoji to that?
No one responded with emojis to any of our comments. One of the other players threw in a gif of there's a line and you crossed it to the and
to you or to Keith or
to Keith,
this person we're calling Keith.
Yes. And he said, well, no need to be rude. And I said my haha component was a crucial part of my statement.
Didn't like that.
He said, for you, not for me. But what's
you know what? When you're a professional translator, you translate ha-has differently than the rest of the world.
It's true. This is true.
I mean, I'm assuming this guy, I just randomly, he might be a translator. This guy we're going to call Keith. I don't know his job exactly.
Going back to how seriously all these guys take it then. So one of the guys in the group actually managed to find, it is co-ed softball league, and some of the other teams have girls. We haven't had a girl in a while. Or woman, I suppose. And he's managed to recruit this former UCLA volleyball player who's now a professional volleyball player in Paris, who's here for 2 years to play.
Has she ever played softball, though?
I'm sure she has.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like,
no, but she said she played.
It is a thing, right?
It is, but she's an American elite female athlete. I think she's played a little bit of softball at some point, like good enough to come out. So she said, happy to join the team and stuff. I then asked her one question.
You said, you can fuck off too. Happy to join the team. Yeah, you can fuck off too. Ha ha.
The ha ha is important. I said, one question for you. Can you pitch? We're in desperate need. A good pitcher would take us from battling for last place to battling for first place.
For sure.
And she said, I can get the ball there, but not very fast. So I'm going to say yes, but not confidently. And a couple of emojis. And
then you gave the fuck off.
I said, that's better than the scouting report on any of our other pitching options. I thought that was welcoming and also kind of true.
Yeah.
To which our serious dorks in our team had to then start chirping in with recommendations on who else could pitch, which was not the point of my comment. Because no one can take the potential insult of me poking, making light of their pitching capabilities. So
let me tell you, you guys have no pitching capabilities.
No, I'm the fucking pitcher. So if I'm the one making
terrible,
if I'm the one making fun of it, and I'm the starting pitcher and closing pitcher, I think I can.
I don't know what that means, but you take yourself out and then put yourself back in.
Sometimes I take myself out, give myself a little bit of a talk. I'm also the coach, so I do a mound visit by myself. I just have a little back and forth on the mound, and then sometimes I take a couple steps away. Tim fortunately lightened the mood. He went, second question, can you catch? Only about half of our team can do that. And we've been able to move on from there. But it's just a bunch of guys in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, in a couple of instances, just taking themselves too seriously. And the killer, and you and I have spoken about this many times, is that there's people who were never that great of an athlete, who as you age, you find yourself then on a kind of level playing field with them. And for them, then this is like, I could never make the team in high school, but now I get to be the superstar.
these guys are not good. They need to relax a little. But this is the thing. I've said this many times. I think it's the people who didn't really play a lot of sports growing up that then when they get onto teams like this, take it way too seriously because they don't understand that this is like a fucking joke, that this isn't like crazy, super competitive and real. And they can't differentiate between like when to actually be competitive and when to just have fun and be competitive. Like, I mean, you see it all the time. Like, I see it all the time, even playing like, now like beer league hockey, where like I don't take it so seriously. Like, I take myself seriously. Like, I'll play hard because I want to get a good workout in and play hard. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not slamming my stick on like the rink when we lose a playoff game. But there are people who do that. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, relax. This is a Tuesday night beer league hockey league. Like, you just broke a $200 stick that you probably shouldn't have bought in the first place because it's fucking Tuesday beer league hockey. Like, calm it down a notch. But those are those people.
100%. And I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I'm going up at my out at bat and I'm trying to do my best. And I'm focusing on the ball to field, but I'm not going to rip into someone for an error, or I'm not going to,
Not like seriously. Like,
no,
I'll make fun of someone.
yes, 100.
for
Yeah,
a fuck up.
tell them to fuck off when they make an
Yeah.
error.
But I'm not going to be like actually upset with them.
But with a ha ha, and that's the key thing. But I don't think this is not the toughest, biggest, best sporting, moment of my life, and I'm not going to treat it as that. And
No, that was the embassy tournament.
yeah. And the other thing is, for sure, if the game gets close or if there's a big moment, then yeah, I might take it a little bit more seriously. So if I'm up to bat and we're down one at the bottom of the final inning, 2 outs, then yeah, I'm definitely not trying harder, but kind of a bit more in the moment than I would have been for my first at bat of the day. But yeah, you get these guys who like treating it like it is every game is game 7 of the World Series. And, I just, I don't get it.
Yeah. I have to say, this is now the second occurrence of you telling someone to casually fuck off that's gotten you into the midst of a fight. I was in person for the other one.
It's true.
That one got you almost thrown out of the bar and banned for almost a year.
Well, no, but that one was that one I meant. That was different.
No, because then you pulled it back and said like, no, I was just telling him to like fuck off, like go away. Like I didn't mean it like fuck you, fuck off. I meant it like fuck off as in like leave because like we're having a conversation.
Oh, to Vasilis.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did mean, hey, just fuck off for a bit to Vasilis.
Yeah, see?
That's different. That was leave me alone for a little bit. Towards the bartender, that was genuine anger. That one I meant. But perhaps I do throw the term around more playfully than others might. I might have a slightly different definition of the term than
someone
most.
To fuck off.
Look, I think all things can be said in a friendly manner if the tone and the intent is right.
Well, I think we could probably challenge that pretty quickly.
Well, we'll see. But anyway, moving on to, I guess, more important sporting news. Let's start with a little quick recap. Since you and I last spoke, 3 European Cup finals have finished. All 3 were won by London-based teams. So Spurs won the Europa League final last Thursday. Tonight, Chelsea won the Europa Conference League against Real Betis. And on Saturday, the biggest, Spurs were slight underdogs against Manchester United. Chelsea were favorites tonight against Real Betis. But Arsenal in the Women's Champions League beat Barcelona on Saturday, which they were pretty heavy underdogs. Barcelona were like 1-6 to lift the trophy, something along those lines going into the final. So, Arsenal are champions of Europe, just not the team that most of them thought, and not the competition most of them were focusing on.
So it's okay. Arteta hasn't won a trophy in 5 years, so he's due soon.
Exactly. That's how it works. Just hang around for long enough and eventually you win something. But yeah, I mean, and I think I want to get former guest of the podcast, Ollie, on. He's probably drunkenly celebrating at his house Chelsea's victory with solo Guinnesses or something along those lines. But to do a little bit of a season recap, because also the Premier League
Yeah.
unfolded in a way that I guess the outcome of the who got the Champions League places kind of went the way we thought it would when you and I discussed it last episode.
It went the way we thought it would, but without some controversy. I think with the Aston Villa, with the goal disallowed,
Yes.
and then a red card.
Yeah.
They have to feel a little, maybe not cheated is the word, but that's one that as a competitor in a competitive league, that's one that will probably sit with you for a while.
Yeah, so the big moment of controversy was the goal that Aston or non-goal that Aston Villa had disallowed that would have put them 1-0 up, and
In like the 72nd minute, I think.
yeah, and Manchester United scored to go 1-0 up shortly thereafter.
Very shortly
And
after.
the goal was originally disallowed for the idea that I think it was that
The keeper had control of it.
yeah,
So
I think it was Morgan Rogers, I think, who scored.
yeah,
I think
yeah. So Morgan Rogers scored, and it hit the keeper, and then kind of like bounced, like it was in the keeper's hands, kind of, but kind of bounced off his hands, and then Morgan Rogers kind of took it, stole it, and put it in. But the ruling on the field was that the ref blew the whistle to stop play, and regardless of VAR, once the whistle is blown before that continuation, you can't review it. It's kind of like the NFL thing when they blow it
the
dead,
play's been
and then
blown dead.
you can't go back and review it. The same decision,
Yes.
which is a shame because one of the main things refs are taught in both, I think, both European and American football is just don't blow the whistle. You have a better chance of not blowing the whistle and letting the play out and having VAR potentially help you than to blow the whistle and then not having VAR on your back. And then not only do you, because I think it's worse, because not only do you, if you make a bad call, you've made a mistake, but then you've also made such a mistake that you can't get the help of VAR. So it makes it worse. It's a worse look for sure.
It does, and it raised an interesting issue because the whistle was blown, but Rogers would have definitely scored. The blowing of the whistle had zero impact on the outcome, so it does raise that the talking point of like, well, should VAR in that sort of situation? It makes it too much of a judgment call of then when they decide, did the whistle blowing impact the outcome? As it turns out, the initial reaction to it was that they'd made a mistake because it looked as if the United keeper did not have control of the ball. Ball is still bouncing around. However, on further inspection, Rogers definitely steps on the hand of the goalkeeper before he then gets the ball. So what the correct outcome is a foul. So, I think Aston Villa feels sort of hard done by, but the reality is
Maybe.
the outcome was correct. He fouls him. He steps on his hand before he gets to the ball. So that required slowing it down and different camera angles, but you would have probably got to that outcome through VAR in the moment anyway.
Yeah, maybe. Like, yeah, I agree, but like, just let the whistle blow. I honestly think the bigger talking point is Martinez's red card, and not that it wasn't a red card, because he literally just demolishes Hoyland, like just crushes him. What a hit! But the decision to do that and basically really limit your shot then of putting your team into the top five. Like I think that's a pretty dumb move.
I think, yes. I think if you are in that situation, it's one thing to do that in the 92nd minute, 93rd minute when look, he's going to score and I'd rather take our chances with a penalty or with down to 10 men or whatever it is. That's the smarter decision. In the 45th minute, it doesn't make sense. And especially not against a Manchester United team that aren't very good. So even if Aston Villa had been 1-0 down with 45 minutes to play, you're you'd feel confident as Aston Villa that you could get back into the game and win it. Whereas down to 10 men, you're always putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. You're having to make tactical adjustments. You're bringing off, another player who. So, yeah, I think with hindsight, you would say if you have to let him score, let him score. Don't get yourself sent off.
And it's clearly a goal scoring opportunity, but I'm not going to say that's a gimme goal because when you watch the play, he's really far out. I mean, he's halfway to midfield. And not only that, like the ball's getting played past him, like towards the corner. So like would they have scored? Probably, but it's not like 100%. It wasn't like it was right there in the box, and if he doesn't hit him, it's just a tap in. I mean, that's still, let's say, 80% chance of a goal there. Like it was just dumb so early to make such an egregious mistake like that and really put your team down.
Look, about the clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity. We had this discussion last episode with
We
Holland,
did.
and again, as we've spoken about many times, the biggest fault of officiating is not what the decision is, but its inconsistencies within the decision. And you look at this decision on a crucial final day of Premier League football, and then you compare it to the decision in the FA Cup final, and I don't think you can say that the thought process or the application of the laws is the same across those two decisions. And that within the space of 8 days, to be able to point to two fairly similar-ish decisions and say, well, we're not doing it the same way. That's the problem. And that's, I think, also when people's frustration with VAR is then driven by that, which is you take longer to make inconsistent decisions and occasionally even wrong decisions. So what's the point? Let's at least be quick and just angry at one person, not at a mystery assortment of 3 or 4 people in a, TV box somewhere.
Yeah, agreed. I think the talking point I want to bring up now that the season's over for you, is this the end of the Big Six?
So look, I think it's worth saying, right, in the history of the Premier League, we have seen fluctuations throughout time as to who's in the Big Four, the Big Five, the Big Six. You look early on, it included Leeds and Blackburn.
Yeah. Let's put it this way then. Is this the end of the current iteration of the Big Six?
Big Six? I'll say, I mean, because you're really only speaking about
Spurs and United.
And really bumping Spurs into like the big anything, I think is generous. I would say, I think the bigger question is this the end of the Big Five? Because you would have penciled Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, United into the top 5 in some combination, and that would have been the safest bet you could have placed.
Which sucks because you got 4.
I think it will be at least a couple of years until Manchester United are competitive for the top 4. So on that basis, I'll say yes, because I think if they've gone already, they finished, outside of the top 6 or 7 last season, and then this season they have as well. So if you have a 4 or 5 year absence from the top 4, then I think you have no way of kind of putting yourself in the Big Five discussion.
I'll put a follow up here. The team that I think had maybe one of the better seasons in the Premier League was Newcastle. Won a trophy, secured Champions League. Are they moving up now into potentially being part of the big whatever? The big insert number.
So I mean, look, it's you can't ignore the fact that they benefit from the Premier League getting 5 Champions League places this season.
Oh, okay, you're on there. Okay.
Most other seasons they're not in the Champions League, so they're lucky that it's played out. They finished 5th and they get the Champions League. They're finished 18 points behind Liverpool. I think most people would say Liverpool are not the greatest Premier League champions of all time, and we'll probably expect that points total for future champions to go up by a couple. So let's say 90 points is kind of the threshold. You're sort of 24 points off that target. But they have unlimited financial resources if they can get their financial fair play right, which is has been a problem for them. So I think you'd definitely be a little worried about them. But the question is which one of those teams? So, like, City are not worried about them. They also have unlimited resources, and seemingly with 130 breaches of Premier League rules, no one's going to pull them up on any time that they try and use those financial resources however they see fit. Chelsea are kind of manipulating the financial system better than anyone else. Liverpool, the revenue is going to be great for a while, even if they don't have the sort of sovereign wealth behind them. I think Arsenal are the ones who should be the most worried. There'll be podcast listeners who will feel like they could have predicted that one, but I really think they're the most vulnerable to one of the other teams breaking into the big four and then them not being well positioned to fight their way back into it.
I could also see Liverpool. I mean, you're closing in on a lot of their key players either ending their run or straight up leaving, right? I mean, we talked about our boy Trent, but you also have other players who are reaching the ends of their career, kind of the back end of their prime, and they don't have that same financial backing. So they might be worried in a few years. Like, I agree with you, they can ride this high, and maybe that'll be enough to get that next wave and keep up top there. But I think Arsenal and Liverpool should be a little worried about a team like Newcastle, who aren't going to be afraid to spend money and now don't have to worry about not being able to recruit the top talent because they're not in Champions League.
Yeah, and look, the Liverpool supporters are delighted with the Fenway Sports Group and feel like that ownership change that that's been part of a positive change in culture, coinciding with Jurgen Klopp and now with Slot. And, everything's rosy in terms of foreign investment in Liverpool and how it looks. But I think if you spoke to Boston Red Sox fans, they would have said, yeah, the Fenway Sports Group came in and we won some World Series, and then they didn't want to spend any more money because they wanted to be profitable and they'd already done the winning part. So now it's about getting your money back part. And so I think that would be the concern for Liverpool is we've kind of seen how the Fenway Sports Group work. And that might mean that they will not commit to long-term investment. And then also, the Fenway Sports Group is really active across a wide range of sports. So tried to get their stake in the PGA. They've, uh, and so I don't know whether Liverpool long term are a priority for them. And I don't mean that in a sense that it will be a sort of overlooked component of their portfolio, but just more in terms of if Liverpool starts to kind of look like a reliable investment, then why would they spend more? Why would they push the boat out for the 100 million, 150 million pound signing and just say, well, look, if we finish fourth, financially, everything's great. So the difference between fourth and second, who cares?
I mean, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think the Fenway Sports Group has gifted the president of the United States a private plane anytime. So, I mean, they don't have that type of just fuck around money where they can just be gifting private jets to whoever hell they want.
Oh, look, they probably could, but you know,
But you know what? They're not.
No,
That's the difference.
they've got integrity.
Integrity, or maybe they have some restraint with what they will and won't spend money on.
But yeah, no, I look, it's and that's why it's tough to also be critical of them or any of these private groups, non-sovereign wealth that are trying to compete with these state-owned clubs. Is we're talking about apples and oranges with how rich people are, and so talking about multi-billion dollar sports groups versus a country that can print its own money, it's not quite the same thing. And it's sort of unfair to then ask them, like, well, why aren't we spending money like Newcastle are? Why aren't you investing in all of the areas of our club like they are? It's not a fair comparison. Now, obviously, the other end of that stick is Manchester United, where they're cutting spending in virtually every area, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And that, you're still billionaires, you can do better. But yeah, no, I think Liverpool are definitely at risk, and I don't want to overreact. I didn't expect them to win the Premier League. I don't expect them to win the Premier League next season, and so I'm not going to change my tune on that front anytime soon. I think they're at risk from any of the clubs sort of immediately underneath them from improving, as are Arsenal. I think City will just spend ungodly sums of money. I think Chelsea have a really core group of very talented young players and the ability to sell a lot of those young players, bring in revenue, and then be able to buy, a boatload more of them. So, they've kind of got their structure figured out. So it's the other two who I think are more at risk.
Any other takeaways from the Premier League season?
I think we can do a deeper dive into it. As I said, maybe if we can get Ollie on, but overall, I just think not the best. We have been treated to some really incredible finishes at the top of the table, which as a neutral is sort of what you want. It's yes, you can get excited about Champions League races, but I don't really care. That doesn't move the needle for me as a neutral supporter that much. Whereas relegation battles and Premier League title battles, those do. And we were denied both of those this season. So to me, it will go down as an entirely forgettable Premier League season. That isn't because of who won. I see the smile on your face. It's not because Liverpool won it. It's just because, if anything, Liverpool winning it is the only thing that will make me remember it, because it will stand out from the wave of Manchester City titles. So it will be like, oh yeah, the second time Liverpool won it in the 2000s, or this century. That will be the notable element to it.
Any other, I guess, European football talking points discussion? We mentioned the Italian domestic league. That was the only one that really had a race to the finish.
Yeah, and Napoli came out on top. Both Napoli and Inter won on Friday night. They both won 2-0, so there wasn't too much drama on the final day. I mean, Inter will kick themselves because in the penultimate match, they blew a late lead, and had they held on to that lead, they would have won the title. But it involved, a really nice goal from Scott McTominay. So then, so Manchester United's decisions look even worse on the back of that. Them winning the Europa League, losing the Europa League final, and then just after it, two former Manchester United players playing a crucial role in Napoli's success in Serie A. But yeah, no, congratulations to Napoli. The only other big talking point from a footballing perspective, I suppose, is the uncertain future of Cristiano Ronaldo, whose contract with Al Nassr comes to an end at the end of June. And he seems to be publicly implying that he will be leaving. And so then the question becomes, where is he going? Speculation is that he
Can
will
he still play in the Premier League, Eddie?
Do it in terms of, is he capable of doing it?
Do you think he's a Premier League starting 11 right now?
Starting, probably not. I mean, look, would he make Leicester City, like Ipswich Town's start best 11? Probably. Say for a top half team, is he starting? No. Do I think he'd be a useful squad player if he was capable of adapting to that role? Yes. My doubt would be, can his ego take a back seat, and can he be a sort of senior figure and a sort of impact sub? Because I can't think of many players. His knack for scoring goals, the threat he poses in the air, you'd love to be able to bring him on late in the game when you're chasing it. Like, there's no doubt about that. But I don't know if he would accept that kind of limited responsibility. So probably the Premier League. The speculation is that he either sort of stays in the Middle East with Al Hilal, or that he'll go to Botafogo because they're in the 2025 Club World Cup, and it will give him a shot at performing in that, and probably some big financial incentives and paydays as a result.
Where would you like to see him go? Would you like to see him go to?
Is that an option?
Would he be on the starting 11 for Blackburn?
If I were him, and
Wrexham.
Yeah, no, please God, no. If I were him, and I would be of the mindset that money doesn't matter. I will work minimum wage at this stage, because not only have I made more than enough money for my family, but I will be able to make tons of money off the field and in the future, right? He is not in. Sometimes when people talk about, like, well, you got to make money now, Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't have to worry about that. He'll be able to make money for the rest of his life, no matter what, because of who he is. He's that well established. If I were him, I would probably go back to Sporting, and wrap my career up in Portugal and try and cement myself as a sporting icon and a true Portuguese icon. He is definitely through the success in the Euros, but I just think you can sort of embrace the Portuguese element of your footballing history and DNA. I think if I were him, that's what I would want to do. In the same way that if I were LeBron James, take, I would opt out at the end of the season and go and play for the Cleveland Cavaliers on the league minimum. And that would be, I'd want the storybook ending to my career. And I think that's the most realistic storybook ending because I don't think he's going to go and play for a big team in Europe and win the Champions League or something.
Yeah, there would be something neat though about seeing him back in the Premier League, even in like a like imagine he went to City and was just on the bench at City.
The, the thing for me, the temptation there would be I think the Messi versus Ronaldo debate has kind of been settled at this stage. I don't think there's a lot of people in the Ronaldo camp, but if you did, and I think he cares about that. If you do care about that, the only way to reignite that conversation and add at all to your argument is for him to return to one of the big 4 or 5 European leagues and play some part in that in his 40s and point to like, yeah, Messi went and played for PSG for a couple of seasons. That's a sort of gimme on success there within the, from a domestic perspective. And then he went to the MLS. That's a little bit of a joke league. I briefly went to Saudi Arabia to make a ton of money, but then I came back and, played 2 seasons with Aston Villa or whatever. I think it makes sense. I just don't think he will do it because I don't think he'll accept being a squad player and I don't think he would accept being, I don't think he could take being anywhere other. Sporting's a realistic possibility because of their status within and stature within Portugal. There's no way he'd play for anyone in the Premier League aside from City, United. That might be it. Spain is Real Madrid, Barcelona,
Happening.
Yeah,
I don't think he even makes the roster.
Well, it might be tough. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think he probably just ends up going to Al Hilal and a nice little big. I say nice little big, very big payday for him.
If we switch now, Eddie, to the NFL, not much talking going on right now in terms of like talking points. But there was a little controversy over Memorial Day weekend that involves Stefon Diggs. Have you seen the viral video that's been circulating the internet, Eddie?
I have, yes.
The video. This is quoting Yahoo Sports, one of my favorite sports news agencies. Videos feature Diggs and his yacht cohorts engaging in what one might imagine goes on during a yacht party. One of the videos features Diggs surrounded by women and handing out a baggie with unidentified contents. So he was not at the OTAs for the Patriots on Wednesday, but Mike Vrabel said that he'll keep the conversations between him and Diggs private.
Yeah, and I mean the killer for him, right, is that the bag contained a sort of pink substance, and there's been lots of speculation.
And sea salt.
Yeah, he's very passionate, very specific about what salt he can use at any one time. And
they were just about to eat lunch, and that's all. Himalayan sea salt or bust.
And you know what? When you're on a boat, sourcing good salt is tough, and it's often overlooked by the sort of catering options on the boat. So you
could
take
be
it
more.
with you.
I'm an avid below deck watcher, Eddie, and I have to say I have never seen Himalayan sea salt hit the table.
Exactly.
And we're talking mega yachts here.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it. So kudos to him for being prepared at all times.
The other thing that he looked bad on too, it's not just the salt, right? It's that these 3 girls are asking him for this substance in a bag. And one of them asks, and he very clearly makes it, he wants to be called daddy as he gets asked. And I know that's a thing now. I think we both missed out on that generation, the kind of daddy culture, but That's weird to me, and especially when you're being filmed.
But what I don't get, here's what I don't get. I don't understand why it's weird, because he's just giving his adopted daughter Himalayan sea salt for lunch. I don't get it. I don't get why people are freaking out about this. She was struggling. She had tough times. He adopted her. He gave her she has a great apartment set up, helped her out with a new job. He brought her on this yacht as a nice family boating trip, like super family friendly. And she's just craving the real salt for her meal, because I mean, we talked about it before, Eddie. When you're on an airplane, things taste different. When you're on a super yacht, things also taste different. So your salt preferences are a little off. So he was just giving his adopted daughter some well needed, salt. That's all.
It's true. It's the reverse blind side. But I, look, it's particularly dumb. This is a player who's kind of bounced around the league at this point, and I think from a talent perspective, everyone accepts is one of the best 5 wide receivers. But he's burned his bridges at every team he's been at. And when he's left, people have been happy to see the back of him. He's just gone to the Patriots, signed a $70 million deal, and now is at risk of suspension. Or I suppose if the Patriots really wanted to, they could get out of the contract now. So I don't think they'll do that because he's still talented enough. It's the incons right. If that's your backup, if that's your third string quarterback, he's gone. There's no that's thanks very much. We don't need you anymore. But Stefon Diggs
Jameis
can,
Winston of the New York Giants.
yeah, Stefon Diggs can survive the controversy, but he's definitely through this and a number of other actions seriously tarnished his reputation and his legacy. Right.
But other than that, not much NFL talking points. Like I said, the OTAs are starting to get underway, so I'm sure we'll have some stories out of training camp of who looks amazing and who looks out of shape, and kind of some early grading for some teams and their draft picks. I have to say, a lot of hype coming out of Giants camp for Dart. They're very high on Jackson Dart. We'll see how
We've
that
been here
goes.
before.
Well, for the Giants, I don't know. Have we?
I think there was positive noises around Daniel Jones when he first came.
Maybe.
I think so.
I think this is calling the kettle black, or whatever that term is over here.
What do you mean? Brock Purdy's just signed a great contract, little team friendly in some ways. Great guy.
Oh,
Niners.
we're just focusing on Brock Purdy, not the other 7 quarterbacks you all said were going to be superstars out of Niners camp.
I think my QB reading's been pretty decent.
Trey Lance, Jimmy G.
I was never super high on Jimmy G.
Oh,
Trey
yeah,
Lance?
sure you were. Yeah, you weren't super high on him. You were just going down on him all day.
Trey Lance hasn't had his chance yet. Give him time.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Netflix definitely has me, because now that I've watched one of the untold stories, they constantly keep popping up. And the new one that just came out was the Brett Favre, or just the story of Brett Favre. Have you watched that Netflix Untold documentary?
I have not, no.
Eddie, you'll be happy to know they do not blur out the penis.
No, you got full dick?
No, I'm just kidding. Thought that might entice you to watch it. It's good. I don't like nothing I didn't already know, and it almost seems like just taking a shot at Brett Favre just to kind of knock him off his pedestal. Like there was nothing to that I don't think even a pretty casual NFL fan wouldn't already know, that he was a creep and was harassing people on Jet staff that were attractive and trying to sleep with them. The only thing I'll say is apparently he had some issues with some massage therapists that I didn't know about. There was some massage therapist
complaints. That's an epidemic in the NFL.
Yeah, they talk about guns in the NFL. Maybe they should get rid of massage therapists in the NFL.
There's fewer occupations that I would less like to have than be a masseuse for NFL players. It's
unbelievable.
It's
a good point.
Is just guaranteed sexual harassment or sexual
unbelievable.
assault.
Yeah, that was the only one, and then obviously it went into his siphoning money from the welfare
Mississippi.
group in Mississippi to fund a women's college volleyball arena that his daughter was playing in, which I think most people know. Like it wasn't,
Yeah.
there was
It maybe
nothing
didn't.
like no shock moment.
Definitely, if you're interested in Brett Favre, you would know it. I think the issue with the Brett Favre story, in terms of why a documentary about it doesn't interest me, or probably isn't as interesting as some other topics, is that not only was most of it fairly public knowledge, but he only had a dissent. He, so, and it was just the back end of his career. Everything has gone wrong. He looks bad. He's a creep. He's a thief. Like there's nothing good. Whereas the stories that work well for, it's just a kind of positive narrative for any type of storytelling is you either need to start at the bottom and make your way to the top, or be at the top, then drop off, then come back. But just to be at the top in the mid 90s and then be like, wow, he was a gunslinger. But the final,
They did say gunslinger a few
yeah,
times
of
in there.
course they did. He probably, I don't know how much he participated in this documentary, but if he did
Oh,
at
I
all,
don't think he did.
okay. But I think the requirement to say gunslinger, that probably would have been one of the things he threw in there. But, ultimately his career kind of fell off a cliff in the last couple of years. And then on top of it, personal life, off the field stuff didn't go well. So what's the revelation there from a documentary standpoint?
That was the thing. There was really no revelation. Even the Johnny Manziel one, where like there isn't an up and down on that. It's just Johnny Manziel going down. There was a lot of that I think common people didn't know, like how crazy it was behind the scenes for him. Whereas this is so public. I mean, the only other thing actually that was surprising to me, and I probably knew and just forgot, was that the woman who he sent the Crocs pic to, she became famous because she was the college student at the Florida State game that Brett Musburger was like, whoa, I think a lot of people are going to be applying to Florida State tonight after this game, when she came on screen. That is her, and she ends up being an NFL reporter, partly because of that, because she kind of hit viral at the right time, and then I think got into like Deadspin and things like that, and became a reporter, and then ended up getting a job with the Jets as a reporter. But I didn't ever link that with that being that person, because I do remember that was like one of the many creepy Brett Musburger things he's done. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that was her.
Yeah, but it doesn't warrant a
But that,
documentary.
no, it doesn't.
And
No.
along those lines, actually wrapping up our NFL talk, I know last episode or the episode before, we spoke about Bill Belichick and the situation going on with him and
Oh boy.
Jordan Thompson, is that her name? I think something like that. His girlfriend. And I did give a lot of credit to Pablo Torre and the research that he did, and his podcast, Pablo Torre Finds Out, which episode 1 that he focused on the Bill Belichick side of things, it was super interesting. And it was a good example of genuine journalism going into the sports world. They did a second part to that, and I don't think that needed to happen. And that saw the story go from, wow, isn't this interesting and concerning about Bill Belichick, to, oh, you're no longer being a sports journalist. This is like gossip column stuff. And I don't know
Oh, it
what
became
you're.
Dumois.
Yeah, like it wasn't great. And the big payoff, the only payoff from the sort of 60 minutes in the second episode, is that the timeline that they have for when they met is probably not true, and that she may have been a guest of Bill Belichick at a Patriots game in like 2021 or something. Now, admittedly, she's young then.
What was she,
Or 29.
14?
She's 18, 19, so it's not great. And also, he was in a serious long-term relationship at that point too. So it's not great for Bill Belichick, but it's also not. I don't know if it wasn't as groundbreaking as episode 1 was.
Speaking of quarterbacks, this is a little bit of a roundabout way
I
to
think
kind
this is
of.
the second time you might have said speaking of quarterbacks in this
I know.
episode.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, I watched or went to the movies and saw Sinners, which is the Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, aka Josh Allen's fiance, Ryan Coogler movie. Very good movie. I really enjoyed it. I think it's slightly overhyped.
I don't think I'm going to
Many
watch it.
people are saying like this is the best movie of the year. It should, like, not that it will, but it should win Academy Awards, and this is amazing. It's a good movie. It's not groundbreaking. It's not like it's just it's a good story. I liked it. I don't think it's the best movie I've seen in years. I would highly recommend it to anyone. I mean, it is one of the better movies I've seen, but I'm not going to come out and say like that's the best movie I've seen in 5 years,
That's not
and
it.
which a lot of people are saying, and I
So
don't
far,
get
the
it. I
only
don't
person.
fully understand it.
So far, I feel like you're straw manning us because you've done this like 2 episodes in a row with like all the Oscar buzz surrounding Sinners, and you're the only person I've heard talking about this. But admittedly, I don't consume that much Oscar discussion, but it is like eighth favorite at the moment, betting wise. But what I will say is, I don't think I'm going to watch it. The thing that's put me off watching it, and this is so bizarre, is in one of the trailers. It's Haley Steinfeld speaking to um, Michael B. Jordan, and he says something about not being interested or something, and she responds with, "Well, you didn't say that when you're reading my coos," or something along those.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I find that exchange so unappealing that I have no interest in seeing the movie.
I have to say that I also saw that preview, so I knew that was coming. Had I not known that was coming, that literally comes out of fucking nowhere.
It comes out of nowhere in the trailer.
But on the movie, it's literally like it's the middle of the day and they see each other for the first time in a while. And he's like, "Hey, how you doing? Good. How are you?" I was like, "Hey, why don't we meet?" And he's like, "Nah, I don't want to meet." And she's like, "Really? You don't want to meet anymore after you just fucking ate me out and fucked me 2 weeks ago?" It's like, whoa, what?
Women be crazy, huh?
Yeah, it was fucking out of nowhere. But no,
It
it's
comes
good.
out of
Like
nowhere. It comes out of nowhere in the trailer, and
it
the real
does.
reason that bothers me is because part of what they're trying to do with the trailer, right, is not give away what the movie's really about, and they're trying to make you go into it a little bit blind and have. It's tough in the modern era, right? Because I think by now everyone, I won't reveal it because there might be, but everyone knows sort of what the gimmick is within it, or and they're kind of hiding that from you in the trailer. So why do you need to include this random, just graphic description of a sexual interaction? It's so, and that makes me
Yeah.
sound like such an old person to be complaining about this. I don't mind the language or anything, but it just feels like, oh, look at this movie where they're, why are you eating my coos? It's like,
That's the word she uses, but
I know. I'm not going to use the full word.
the thing I do like about the movie, there's not a lot of exposition in the movie. It's kind of like you just get thrown into this world and you're basically like with I'm not going to spoil really anything, but Michael B. Jordan plays twins and he actually pulls it off very well. Like it's not kind of like 15 years ago when one person played twins and it looked super corny and like you could tell that like they could never film them together. It looks great and he does a good job. Like they're definitely separate people, like with separate personalities and things like that. But basically, you kind of just get thrown into a random day of these two people and everything that kind of happens. It's almost like a 2 day story, and then that's it. Like you don't get a lot of. There's not like background scenes or like like, oh, what were you doing there? Well, this is what we were doing there. It's kind of just like, it's more like sci-fi, like you're thrown into something and you kind of just have to absorb it as you go and kind of put the pieces together as like you're collecting more information. And that was done really well. Like that, I really enjoyed that, where you make the audience has to kind of be intelligent in a way. They can't just get everything spoon fed to them. I like that kind of storytelling. But at the end of the day, it was what it was. It was kind of just like a horror movie in a way, so it's good. You should watch it. I think that shouldn't put you off, that one line, because that's probably like the only line like that. There's like one other maybe, but that's about it.
Yeah. No, I don't think I'm. Do you know what? Maybe on a plane at some point. I think that's where I'm most likely to consume it. I think aside from that, you know, I'm waiting for Horizon Part 4. So, I don't have I don't have time
It's
to watch
definitely
other
got like
things.
Get Out vibes. If you liked Get Out, it's kind of got a little bit of that.
I liked Get Out, but I didn't like Get Out as much as everyone else loved Get Out, and so eh, I I hate being that person because I hate being like that person who likes a rock band and then says, "Well, now that they're big, I don't like them anymore," because that shouldn't impact how you sort of consume creativity or content. But sometimes when you're kind of, yeah, that was good, and the whole world tells you how amazing it was, it does make you like it a little bit less. So I guess we fully transitioned to the popular culture part of the podcast on that basis. It means I have to ask the question: have you watched the season finale of?
I have not. I'm almost caught up. I will have watched it by the next episode. We are
Oh,
basically caught up.
they
We
always
finally got
say
back into it.
they always
The
say
issue
when
was, well, the major issue I had was we cut our cable, and I got HBO through our cable, so I didn't have an HBO account. So I was trying for several days to get onto someone else's HBO account, and then like I don't know, it wouldn't work, like this primary secondary count thing or whatever. So we finally just bought a subscription to HBO and started watching them. So now we're back on.
I can say, I think the real problem is I have finished it. I watched the finale. It felt the last couple of well, the penultimate episode is pretty good, but for the most part, this season felt like a chore to watch. Like it's transitioned into a show now where if season one hadn't existed, there's no way I'm still watching it, and I kind of don't know. I don't really enjoy it, but I'm just making my way through it because just in case it gets better again.
So far, I think there's what, 6 episodes this season. I think we're at 4 or 5. We finished 4 or 5. Uh, I I don't dislike it. I'm not going to say it's my favorite show this year or it's the best show this year, because it's just not. I think having Joel die, which obviously happens in the game, right? So it's going to happen. But I think that ultimately was just a big killer for the show, having to rely on 2 kids to basically run the show. And they're not kids, I get it. They're, in their 20s, early 20s. But still, like, they just don't have that gravitas that Pedro Pascal has. And I'm not even the biggest Pedro Pascal fan, but just the way he played that character was so good. And it really just, like, when he's on screen, that season hummed. And now that he's not, and you're having to rely on, these two to kind of have these weird interactions they have at times. And I think the issue for me so far, and I haven't watched the Joel flashback episode, which I know is happening. And I've heard that's, like, again, the best episode of the season, partly because Joel's in it.
Yeah, well, I also don't know, right? Because I do think it was one of the better episodes, but it's just because more happened within that episode. But I'm also reluctant because I do think a lot of people say it's better because they just hate like the other characters so much that, oh well, Pedro Pascal's back, so I'm going to say positive things about it because it sort of reinforces my position on other actors, other characters.
Maybe, but like at a point, like the criticism Bella Ramsey's getting is unfair. But at a point, you have to watch these episodes, and like, they're not great. Like, the acting isn't what it was in season one. The dialogue isn't what it was. And it's starting to feel, almost to me now, too video gamey. Like, season one, yes, it's based off a video game, but it was a TV show with the skeleton of a video game. And now it feels like they're almost just trying to recreate a video game on television. Like, there are multiple scenes where it's like, oh my God, how are they going to get out of this one? And it's like, cut random person coming in to save the day to advance to the next level. Like, oh, we escaped this room. Now we're out of the room. Now where do we got to go? Like, so many episodes are just like passing levels in a game that is just too much for me. And it's like the like ways they get out of jams, and like even the dialogue where it's like, well, you're the brainy one, right? Yeah, I'll just do the killing and you do the reading of the map. Like it's very video game dialogue-y.
Yeah, I mean, part of the charm of season one, right, was that they did recreate some of the video game aspects really well. I think for me, the
Some of them.
the three ultimate issues I've got is part of the story. What's supposed to make part of the story compelling is that it's about a post-apocalyptic world with zombies, but really what you're learning is that it's the people that are the issue. And I think what really I'm learning as I watch it is that I cared more when the zombies were the issue. Like that was more interesting to me. And this sort of revealing, kind of cultural sort of analysis does not move the show along as well. The other thing is you're supposed to be caring about this love story between two of the primary characters, but they did nothing to build it up. They were good
No.
friends. We didn't really see that much of them as friends. Then they drunkenly make out, and then they're in love.
Yeah.
And like we didn't see any of this progression.
The scene where she says, I'm going to be a dad, literally almost comes out like if you had just watched this show at face value, almost comes out of nowhere. Where it's like, wait, why are you going to be the dad? You guys have hooked up what seems like one time last night.
Twice, I guess. We've seen two interactions, right? We saw
They made out once,
made
and
out.
then like they fully hooked up
Yes.
once the night before, and now all of a sudden you're the father to this child that she's having. Like,
Obviously,
I don't understand that. Like, where is this relationship? How much did this escalate?
and that didn't happen in the video game, because in the video game she gets angry that now she's going to be a burden and that she's going to hold back her sort of vengeance pursuit. And I don't mind that they change it. If she'd said, like, I'm going to be an aunt, that would have been valid. That would have been like, oh, you're my best friend and you're having a baby. Like, that could have been the emotional reaction. I think it would have been less sort of meme worthy. And now they're just getting ripped apart for the like, I'm going to be a dad.
Yeah.
It's not great. But and look, Bella Ramsey's getting. We've spoken about it now. I think 3 or 4 episodes. She's getting criticized for a lot of the wrong reasons. I don't know if she's a great actress.
She's good at one thing, I think, and maybe
her face can only do one thing. That's the problem.
Come on, Eddie. No, I think she's really good at playing like the tough, angry persona. Like when she gets really upset and angry about something, it's good. Like she does that really well, and that comes from when she was on Game of Thrones. You know, she was a kid, but it was like a very serious character in the show, and was very tough, and people were afraid of her. You know, even though she was a small child, she still does that well. But then the emotional parts where you're supposed to see her feel something sad or happy, those don't really hit her. That she's not doing that well. Like whenever she picks up the guitar and starts singing, like I don't know what emotion she has. Is she happy? Is she sad? Does she angry because she sucks at playing guitar? Like I have no concept of the emotion she's feeling anytime she picks up the guitar. Which apparently there's just guitars everywhere in Seattle.
Look, when the zombies are attacking, you don't need to pick your guitar up. You leave that. But no, it's not great. And again, a lot of that's the script. It's not because the other thing we've also, I think I've made this point before. The problem I have is like in the game, she's supposed to be sort of like a badass. You know, and in the TV show, we don't really see the only thing that you can point to all the time is that while she's immune, but most of the people don't know she's immune. So the idea that they would be like, well, you go and do it. It's like, why? The value that she actually adds three people know about, and to the rest of them, she's just sort of like a small girl who's not particularly tough and doesn't act it in crucial moments. So that's the other bit where
Yeah,
the writing is letting her down.
yeah, I agree. I think the writing lets her down because it to me she doesn't seem a badass. She just seems like an impulsive idiot who just has like a death sentence. And
I
there's a
would not trust
difference.
her at all. And if,
No,
especially if you didn't know that she was immune, everything she does is just completely unnecessarily reckless and puts
yeah,
herself and other people in danger. So there's
yeah.
no way
And that
you'd be like,
she wasn't like that in season one. She was like more of a badass, but like had a little restraint and was trying to learn from Joel about like, and that's what actually really annoys me is Joel was so good at the fact that Joel did like run into the fire, but at the same time he was very smart and strategic about what he was doing and how he was doing it. And she seems to have learned nothing from him except apparently to play the guitar.
and be moody.
And
That was the one trait she took away from him.
well, Eddie, if you are not enjoying The Last of Us as much as you thought you would, I'm going to once again pitch you Andor.
No,
I
but I
think
have.
you have to watch Andor. It is the best show on television. I have one episode left, and I'm actually I don't want to watch it because I know it's the last episode and the show's not coming back, and this is it. And I am almost sad to have to watch this final episode. This is the best show on television. It is so good. It's like a spy. It's like Jason Bourne with like some action and oh, it's so good.
Well, I won't be watching it. I
You
have
just
watched.
gotta stop being a bitch and watch it.
I have watched one of your other recommendations, though.
Which was that?
I have watched Our Friends and Neighbors.
I haven't watched Our Friends and Neighbors
Oh,
yet.
I thought you said you started watching it.
I started watching The Studio.
Oh, well, I've watched Our Friends and Neighbors. It's not bad. It's enjoyable in the way that it's intended to be enjoyable, which is like you
John
shouldn't
Hamm on screen.
you shouldn't critically analyze it to any great degree, but it's the storyline I think weaves together a set of fairly unlikely plot lines in a sort of pretty good way. And John Hamm is very watchable.
Yeah. Yeah, the Friends and Neighbors is on there on my list, and The Rehearsal is also on my list. Once I finish Andor and Last of Us, those will be my next two.
But yeah. Anything else major going on in your life?
No, not particularly. Just getting excited at a prospect of unpacking for an entire weekend, so that'll be fun.
Nice. Oh yeah, because you mentioned pre-podcast that your plan is not to unpack a significant portion of your boxes because you're renting this house with the intention of buying, and so you
Yes.
don't want to unpack. But this is probably a year that you're spending in this house with these boxes going into storage.
Yeah, I mean they'll just go into the extra room we have, where we
So
probably would put them anyway, but we would have most likely like unpacked them and put them somewhere.
my question is, if there's anything that you can get through in life without unpacking for a year, is that not sign that you just throw it away?
If we were in a relationship, we'd have nothing, and I'd love it.
No, because I like stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. There's stuff I
No,
keep,
I
but
this. I think I might have said exactly the same thing yesterday and the day before and the day before that. Basically, yeah, like I'm okay with not opening these boxes, but if we don't have to open these boxes, why do we have this stuff? Literally what I've been trying to say. And I that is my ultimate hope and goal is that eventually we just say, "Hey, are we moving this stuff?" And then I can kind of say, "Well, we didn't use it at all. Let's just leave it here."
why don't you just go and throw it away?
I might.
And
I
then,
run the risk then that then some of my stuff in retaliation gets thrown away.
and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a healthy relationship.
And that worries me.
Oh, you threw away my third favorite colander. I threw away your car.
So yes, we'll see. But hoping to just get the upstairs unpacked. That's the goal for the weekend. We can leave the basement for another fun weekend.
Well, while you're unpacking and contemplating getting rid of unnecessary stuff, I am now adding because I have a dog arriving now in 10 days. So
Wow, we've started a
preparations
countdown.
sort of got a calendar date for picking it up. Got to
Nice.
got to drive nearly 2 hours to
Oh my
go and
God.
yeah, pick the dog up. And yeah, so now having to buy tons of dog stuff in preparation. It's now
Oh,
sitting
a
unused.
dog bed
Well,
and dog bowls.
a crate for now.
Okay.
And like initially crate chained. So there's a crate now in the living room,
Are you on the first floor?
second floor. So
Okay,
this is
so
a
you'll
bit
have
of
to
a
go out
has to take the dog
and
out and carry
down
the
an
dog.
elevator.
No elevator, so I have to carry the dog up and down the stairs for the first 4 months until before then it's not great for the hips and stuff. So
Yeah. Are you gonna try to bell train the dog?
no,
Why? What's so funny about that? That's what we did when we had the apartment.
no. I think it will be okay. I mean, we're lucky, right? Our apartment building has an internal courtyard with like grass. So for just short trips, it's pretty easy. Just down the 2 flights of stairs and then out onto the grass. For walks can go further, but like just for
But that's what I mean. You hang the bell up by the door, and when the dog has to go out, it like rings the bell, and then you just take it out, so you know when the dog has to go out.
no, because I got to listen to a bell. I think the dog can give me other
The dog's
indicators.
not gonna like start playing like fucking Christmas carols on the bell.
Maybe aim
Well,
higher.
then you know what? Then you should hang this bell up.
Yeah. No, I don't know. We'll figure it out, but yeah, it's
I
definitely
guess
gonna
the good
be.
thing is you'll be potty training the dog in the summer. That's a huge
Oh, I would
plus.
not have got the dog in the winter.
Yeah,
That's because for myself, going outside in not as nice weather
it's
would be a
tough.
downer, but also just bringing the dog in and out with it being wet and then like
Yeah.
having to add to it, like now I got to dry the dog off. That would not be. And as you know, I'm particular about, so the dog is going to be clean.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see that. I cannot wait to see you just crumble. This
Now,
could be the beginning of the end for you.
no dog on the bed, no dog on, no dog on the sofa.
Oh my God, this is over. This is game over. This is either one of two things happen. Either this dog dies of depression before its first year, or you jump off your second floor when you're covered in dog hair.
The dog hair thing, no, there's going to be labs have a decent amount of hair, so
Yeah, they
I'm
do.
definitely going to have some dog hair on me, but not in the, like the nice thing about lab hair is like if you don't touch them, you won't get the dog hair on you. So like if I'm going to go out,
I love this. This dog isn't allowed on anything except being in its crate, and it's not allowed to be touched.
no, not allowed on furniture and not allowed in the bedroom. Everywhere else is fair game.
So it's allowed in the kitchen.
Kitchen, living room, office,
Okay.
those
Oh, it
are
can sleep
all,
with me in the office.
yeah,
Can
dining.
it sleep on the office bed?
No, not on any beds. I'm not expecting a dog to be able to understand the complexity of certain furniture it can and can't get on. So it's a blanket rule. Stay on the ground.
Is your parents' dog allowed on furniture?
No. I've never, as a kid, I never had a dog that could get on furniture. Except for when they were like, I mean, as a puppy, yeah, like people pick them up and put them on, but as like fully grown, no, they had their dog bed and then that was it.
We will see. I'm excited to see this.
I feel confident on that front, but as I said, I mean, as well as you asked, it's the way I grew up, and like very affectionate with dogs. It's not a case of I don't want a dog or don't want to like interact with it, play with it, take it out, but just I don't need dirty dog feet all over my furniture or a dog asshole scraping itself across my furniture like on my pillow
Why you
before
have Vasilla scrape his asshole across your furniture? How's that any different?
That's true. I make him wipe first though.
All right, I guess with that we'll call it a day. Talk to you
Sounds.
later.
See ya.
Cheerio.